right. What's up, y'all? I hope you guys can hear me today. Kickstart Black Cherry, best flavor in the world. Mm-hmm. What's up? Let my car warm up a second. Been kind of dreary today. It's raining and dreary. Well, it's not raining anymore. I guess it's quit pretty much, but we're gonna see how wet the roads are. Yeah. Well, there you are. What's happening, kiddo? Doing all right? Haven't been able to get on. Yeah, I figured as much. I was on yesterday, but for some reason, my telephone called me, or something called my telephone from my infotainment system down here, and I didn't have any sound yesterday. I don't know what happened. The video was like, I don't know, probably 25 minutes long, and somebody finally told me that I didn't have any sound. So I deleted that video. I had a whole lot to talk about too. I was talking about some good shit. But like I said, I got rid of that video because there was no sound. So hopefully you have to reschedule surgery, because what are you having, another surgery? What kind of surgery this time? You're gonna be like, what are you, like a guinea pig or something? You don't know what's going on with you? Or you getting a bunch of crackpot doctor. You attempted to eat a piece of French toast but couldn't because it didn't taste right. A small stent where? Why are you having a stent? And where? And no, I don't know what's going on with me. So you got a bunch of crackpot doctors that you're talking to, or you just don't understand what they're saying, or what? Kidney stones. Well, I know you had kidney stones, but I thought you had them removed. So what's up with that? Well, you have more kidney stones? Okay. Still. So they didn't take them out the first time around? Why don't they just give you that? There's some kind of ultrasonic thing that they could do to break those down. I don't know what it's called, but it's almost like an ultrasound, but they use like high frequency waves to break those kidney stones down. Or why don't they use that instead of trying to cut you open again? Oh boy, I need a haircut. My hair's too damn long. All right, well, anyway, happy day. And you don't know what to ask my doctors when you ask them questions. Well, tell them to tell you everything. Tell them you want to know what the hell the problem is. You know what? You know how like are there any alternatives? Can you instead of doing surgery, is there something else you could do? Why do you keep getting kidney stones? That kind of thing. I've never had a kidney stone in my life that I know of. I don't understand. I don't think your mother has either that I know of. I know she's had some bad gas, stuff like that. But I don't know that that she ever had kidney stones. I don't think Dee Dee has either. You'll ask next time. Yeah, you really need to find out why you keep getting. I'm willing to bet it's your diet. You're probably eating some kind of a food that, you know, is high risk for that. You drink a lot of soda. I know that, like, if you drink a lot of soda, that can happen. But our calcium, basically, I think, you know, kidney stones, I think, are like a calcium deposit of some kind. I'm not sure. You know, I've never, like I said, I've never had them, so I couldn't tell you for sure. You know what I mean? I got somebody blowing their horn behind me because I didn't go when they wanted me to go. Dumbass. I guess he's in a bigger hurry than I am. Watch, I'm gonna get down here on the interstate and blow his doors off. Well, I can't. The old lane's full. Damn it. Anyway. Yeah, he must really be in a hurry. Next time. Okay, well, I don't know where Utters is either. I was talking to him day before yesterday. I think he did a live feed. I was on his live feed talking to him. I mean, I wasn't actually part of his feed, but I was talking to him. He said he figured out a way that him and I can go live simultaneously with each other, talk to each other, or I can invite him or something. I don't know how to do that. I'm almost willing to bet you got to do that on the PC, but I'm not 100% sure. We'll let this jackass go up here. He was in a real big hurry. Dumbass. What do I think about Minneapolis? I think that girl bit off more than she could chew. You know, you don't, when you're faced in a situation and a cop tells you to get out of the car, you get out of the fucking car, period. You know what I mean? But I hear that girl had been harassing them all day, and she was there to obstruct whatever job they were doing. She was there to obstruct it. So, you know, all she had to do was get out of that car. If she had gotten out of the car like they instructed her to, she'd still be alive. You know, you don't use a vehicle as a battering ram, especially when you're dealing with police. You know what I mean? That's not cool, and it's not right. And you shouldn't do that dumbass shit. You know what I mean? She's responsible for losing her own life. The cop, you know, he did what he had to do. He stopped a threat. And that's one of the things that you learn if you've ever been in the military or taken any kind of a firearms class. They teach you about stopping a threat. And that girl was obviously a threat. So he did what he had to do. I would have done the same thing. Only I wouldn't have only fired 3 shots. I would have emptied my magazine, period, because that's what you're supposed to do. But in the military, he was probably ex-military, and you know the rifles that you use in the military, the M16s, and you know the other semi-automatic weapons that they use in the military are usually 3-round burst. So that's probably why he only fired 3 rounds. I can't really substantiate that, but I would imagine that that's why. I've watched the video. I can't show it, of course, because I'm driving and I'm on my cell phone doing this, but I watched a video that some group called Lincoln something or other posted, and they made it look like a murder because what they did is the guy that was in front of the car firing, they cut him out of the video. So it was just a propaganda thing. They used the AI to alter the video, and it made it look like the guy just, you know, freaking, like there was nobody in front of the car. But then if you go to other videos that, you know, are legitimate, you can see clearly that the cop that was in front of the SUV actually did get hit. So that's like, fuck around and find out. That's right. If she had, you know, like I said, if she had just fucking done what she was told to do and get out of the fucking car, you know, she'd be alive today. But unfortunately, you know, some people think they're above the law, or that because she's a woman that they weren't gonna, you know, do what was necessary to preserve the cop's life. You know, if you're threatened by something like that, that's, you know, that's instinct. You protect yourself. If you've got the means to do it, then fucking do it, you know? And like I said, I would have done the same thing.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Oh, shut up. My car's talking to me. I don't know why it's talking to me. I guess I said some keyword that made it start talking. I don't know. These smart cars really they kind of weird me out. But anyway, like I said, I wouldn't have stopped in 3 rounds. I would have emptied my fucking magazine. But, you know, that's just me. And yeah, fuck around, find out. She did it. She did it to herself. She's responsible for her own destiny. They gave her, you know, 2 chances to get out of the car. She didn't do it. And, you know, she was from Missouri, believe it or not. The vehicle that she was driving was registered in Missouri. It had Missouri tags on it. She was from over the Kansas City area somewhere. But, you know, you got all these people that are, you know, coming out in droves about this, calling the ICE agents, you know, murderers and Nazis and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, none of them came out when Ashley Babbitt was killed. You know what I mean? Ashley Babbitt was in the Capitol, yeah, but she was an unarmed person. And this Michael Byrd, that son of a bitch, just started shooting indiscriminately, and he shot her in the neck. You know what I mean? But none of these crazy motherfuckers that are out there protesting in the streets protested that. She was unarmed. She didn't make any forceful threats towards anybody. But they just decided that, you know, Ashley Babbitt wasn't as important as this woman, I guess. I don't know. But she was an Air Force veteran, you know. And the guy, Michael Byrd, was given a fucking raise. Why? He should have been fucking arrested, indicted, put in jail, gone to trial, been convicted of murder, in the first degree, and then sentenced to death. That's what I would have done if I was a judge. I'd have buried that son of a bitch, you know. And I know there's people out there going, oh, you know, Michael Byrd was a black guy and all this shit. I don't care what color he was. The fact that no sound. Well, it'll come back. Give it a second. I didn't touch anything. How long have I not had sound? Am I back now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? I don't know what's going on. Can you hear me? Tell me if you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up, a like or something. I got 2 people watching. I have no idea. Okay, I'm back now. Good. Anyway, you know, I didn't see all these people coming out in the streets and things like that when Ashley Babbitt was killed. And it's awfully funny that, you know, these groups of protesters, I call them paid actors or paid protesters. It's awfully funny that they had all these, you know, elaborate signs and all these sayings. You know, like right after this happened, it wasn't even 12 hours yet, and there were people protesting in the streets and had all these signs and were ready to go. Where did the signs come from? You know, there's more to this. There's more to this than people are talking about. You know what I mean? But she was a known associate of Antifa. And she had been harassing the cops all day long in that area. And the fact that she lost her life, as tragic as it may be, She brought that shit on herself. And I'll stand by that. I've watched the videos over and over and over again, and I can't justify having any sympathy for that girl. You know, she was 37 years old. She had the mental capacity, as far as I know, to make a solid decision. It's just unfortunate that the decision she made cost her life. You know, so I don't really care, to be honest with you. I say good riddance. That's just one less fucking left-wing liberal fucking whack job we got to deal with in the world, you know. And so be it. I don't care. Okay, can we move to something else? I'm back now. Yeah, I know. Can we move to something else? How about this live stream brought to you by Kickstart? Mountain Dew Kickstart, black cherry flavor. The colder it is, the better it is. How about that? They ought to let me start doing commercials for them. Of course, now I can't. I probably can't do that because I'm not being monetized. I don't really care to be monetized. If I was doing this like full time or something, yeah, I wouldn't mind being monetized, but I'm not really worried about it. I got one person watching. That's you, right, Ashley? You still there? People probably just don't like my opinion, so they're not going to listen to people when they don't care about their opinion. You know, I mean, we all got opinions. We're all going to disagree on things. I just think it's funny that, you know, these people, these Democrats, these left-wing radical bullshit nut jobs, they don't have any common sense. You know, they justify criminals, and they justify people doing bad shit, and then when they got to face the consequences for doing that bad shit, they was like, oh no, they're the victim, you know, so they make them into a victim. There was nothing about that girl yesterday that was a victim. She wasn't a victim. She was a victim, but she was a victim of her own choice, basically. You know, I don't have much more else to say about it. What else you want to talk about it? Yeah, you're still there. I know. I see your little number right there. Well, it's up here, right there. So anyway, my album's here today. I ordered about a month ago. A buddy of mine was putting an album on a turntable on a stereo, and come to find out it was a recording of Ozzy Osbourne's very last concert over in England. And of course, if you've been following Ozzy for any amount of time, you know that was his final tour, or his final show. It was called Back to the Beginning with Black Sabbath. And this album, I guess, was a bootleg. It was taken from a recording that was done by I don't know, one of the big companies did like a pay-per-view on it. They had a pay-per-view on this thing. So anyway, they recorded it and then they put it on an album. It's on blue vinyl, and I'm probably going to do a reveal video on it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. I got to get home and get it first. But it was delivered today. It took it a month to get to me. About a week after I ordered it, I wrote the company and I was like, hey, you know, I don't see any movement on this album yet. So they sent me an email back, you know, telling me, hey, look, you know, we appreciate your business and all that, and you know, we hear what you're saying, and so they sent me a tracking number. So I tracked this thing, and it went from I want to say Madrid, Spain. It went to Barcelona, and I guess Barcelona is where their customs office is over there for mail. So it was in their customs office for like 2 weeks. So then it gets here to the U.S. and goes to New York, and it was in customs in New York. And then I looked at one point, for some reason, it went to Jamaica. And I'm like, why the hell would they send an album to New York, then Jamaica, and then back to New York? I don't get it. Unless I just don't get it. But anyway, so 1 month and 1 day it took this album to come from Madrid, Spain. Okay, you're still there. I know you're still there. I'm sorry, I'm not paying very close attention. It's kind of rainy and dreary today, so I'm kind of trying to watch the road too while I'm making this video. But anyway, I'm pretty excited about it. I think there were only like 200 copies of this album made, so which makes it a rarity. You know, that's 200 copies like around the whole world, not just in the US. This is around the whole world. There's only 200 copies of this album made. And I don't know if it's numbered or what. Generally when they do, usually when they do bootleg albums like this, or what they call, unofficial albums. Usually when they do those, they're not numbered. But then again, I've seen them, some of them where they are numbered, so we'll just have to wait and see. But anyway, I got a notification like right after lunch that my album had been delivered. And with it being rainy and dreary today, you know, my mailman's not too great. They usually just lay shit. I got a table on my front porch. They usually just lay my packages on there. And but it's raining and everything and wet out, and I was afraid it was going to get wet, so I called my neighbor and I was like, hey neighbor, you know, can you go and check, see if my album's at my house? I got notification that, you know, it was delivered and everything. And he's like, oh yeah, sure. So he went over and looked for it, and he said that the mailman had put it between the door and the storm door. And I was like, well, that's freaking cool, because they usually don't do that. But I guess being that it was an album, you know, that would be an easy place to put it. That's what they did. So I'm pretty happy with the United States Postal Service right now. You know, just making sure that my album got to me without being damaged or without getting wet. The last thing I would want is for a brand new album to get wet and then the album stick to the inner sleeve, you know what I mean, or the outer sleeve and stuff like that. So I'm pretty happy. Man, it's 64 degrees here today, and we're in December, believe it or not. Is it warm where you're at, Ashley? How warm is it over there today in South Carolina? I'll wait. I got 2 viewers in there. Hey, other viewer, how about if you tap the screen 2 times and give me a like? I'd appreciate it if you did. I'm not going to beg, but it'd be nice if you could do that for me. That'd be really cool. Still kind of slow at work. I didn't do a whole lot today. Of course, I haven't done really a whole lot for the past, I don't know, couple of weeks. But I'll have at least 2 vehicles in the morning, and then I'm looking at possibly having 2 more vehicles, or 3 maybe, tomorrow afternoon. So hopefully. Yeah, somebody's ran a red light. I better be glad nobody decided to go yet. That would have been a mess. Yep. Damn, the air stinks around here. It's fucking somebody's smoking pot. 69 degrees there. How about that? Well, I sure wish I still lived in the Carolinas. That'd be nice to have that kind of weather today. Well, like I say, it's 64 here. And it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of muggy and it's overcast today. So, you know, it's, I don't know, it was raining a little while ago, couple hours ago it was raining. Like for a couple of minutes it came down pretty hard and then it quit. One of the guys in the shop was talking a little while ago, and he was talking about, the Farmer's Almanac was saying it was supposed to be nice for another week or so, and then it was going to start getting really cold again. But from what I understand, in 2026 is the last year that the Farmer's Almanac is going to be created. Here's my theory behind that. So, they've been pushing this fucking climate emergency bullshit forever. And I got a feeling what they're doing is they're going to get rid of the Farmer's Almanac so that nobody can predict, or, because what they do with the Farmer's Almanac is, like, the Earth works in cycles with the sun, right? So what they've done is this Farmer's Almanac people, they write about, like what kind of year or what kind of day this was, say 10 years ago. And they kind of predict the weather according to the historical pattern. So I got a feeling that's just what this is all about. These fucking climate emergency bullshit people, the government, because realistically that's who's doing this is the government, because they got to have some way to bring money in to save the world, because they want to seem like heroes or whatever. But anyway, so that's neither here nor there. But that's what it is. They want to be able to say, oh my God, we're in a climate emergency and blah blah blah. And if we don't have a Farmer's Almanac to look at, throwing up bile is no fun. Yeah, I know. I just burped a little bit on this. That seems kind of gross, don't it? But don't you pull out in front of me. I'm making a left-hand turn here, fella. I'm almost home. Throwing up bile is no fun. Yep. And it doesn't taste very good either. But I guess if I was to eat like things that weren't greasy at lunch, I probably wouldn't have that problem. I've been taking some vitamins with wormwood, black seed oil, and something else, and it's supposed to help like lung function and stuff like that. Because ever since I had the pneumonia back in 2021, I believe it was, I haven't been like, as healthy as I was before. I've gained a lot of weight. And, I don't know. I get like fatigued really easy, like when I go up and down stairs and shit like that, But anyway. All right, folks. Well, you lost 2 pounds. Well, that's good. I'd like to see you gain some weight instead of losing weight, but it's all right. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I gotta go next door to my neighbor's house and get my record. Then I gotta pull my Trailblazer truck out and put my Equinox in. Well, I don't know, maybe not, because I'm going to be I'll be driving it Tuesday. I'm going to a hockey game Tuesday. The Carolina Hurricanes are coming to town to play the Blues. And a buddy of my wife, he's a veteran, so he gets tickets through a company called VetTix. Excuse me. Whew. Anyway, you're 100 pounds now. Okay. Well, that's better than 250 like me. Well, I'm actually 255. But he gets tickets through a company called VetTix. And of course, now they gave him nosebleed seats, I guess because he got 4, because he said generally, like, if he gets 2 seats, they're a lot closer, though, like in the 100 section, but these are in the 300. But I don't care really too much. He said they're way up there, but it'll be cool to go to a game. I haven't been to a Blues game since let's see, the last Blues game I went to was 2019. I went to see the Blues play the Dallas Stars. It was the first round of the playoffs that year, 2019. Incidentally, that was the same year that the Blues won the Stanley Cup. So it'll be pretty exciting. It's really cool, when you go to hockey. Well, actually, you remember what it's like to go to hockey games. It's a really enjoyable unless you got a bunch of idiots around you, and then it becomes not so enjoyable. Anyway, I'm out here. You guys take it easy. Take care, and we'll talk to you later. Bye, Ashley. I love you. Have a good night. I'll talk to you again soon. Pieces.